publishing zombie, indie publishing for rebellious readers.
The Gateway Conspiracy, the hidden war for human consciousness. Unlock the secrets the CIA tried to bury. Discover the Gateway Conspiracy, the hidden war for human consciousness on Amazon, and take the first step toward breaking free from the illusion. Dive into the hidden world of covert operations and mind control and find out what they don't want you to know.
What if your mind was the final battleground? What if reality, as you know it, was a carefully constructed illusion? Gateway Conspiracy, the hidden war for human consciousness.
What if your mind was the final battleground? What if reality, as you know it, was a carefully constructed illusion? During the Cold War, intelligence agencies across the world became obsessed with the idea that the human mind could be influenced, controlled, and even weaponized. The CIA, KGB, and Mossad all poured resources into understanding how thoughts, perceptions, and behaviors could be altered through psychological manipulation, hypnosis, drugs, and even electromagnetic technology. At the heart of this effort was Project MKUltra, the CIA's notorious mind control program. Running from the 1950s to the 1970s, MKUltra conducted covert experiments on unwitting subjects, using everything from LSD and hypnosis to sensory deprivation and electromagnetic fields to explore methods of controlling human consciousness. While MKUltra focused on chemical and psychological manipulation, Project Stargate was a separate but equally classified program that sought to train operatives in psychic espionage and remote viewing. Techniques eerily similar to those developed by Robert Monroe. Both programs had a common goal: to create superhuman intelligence agents capable of reading minds, manipulating thoughts, predicting future events, and controlling behavior remotely. While the official narrative claims MKUltra ended in 1973, declassified documents suggest that the research continued under different names, and its influence is still felt today in military psychological operations, social engineering, and mass manipulation techniques. After World War II, the US military launched Operation Paperclip, a top-secret program that brought hundreds of Nazi scientists, doctors, and intelligence officers to America. These men, many of whom had conducted horrific human experiments in concentration camps, were absorbed into NASA, the CIA, and the Pentagon, where their research was continued under new names. One of the most disturbing aspects of this operation was that Nazi mind control research, which had been conducted in places like Dachau and Auschwitz, was taken over by the CIA and used to develop MKUltra. The SS had already been experimenting with drugs, hypnosis, and trauma-based programming to break and rebuild human minds. The CIA wanted to take this research further, applying chemical, psychological, and technological methods to achieve total control over individuals. Using funding from black budget operations, the CIA created MKUltra, a sprawling network of mind control experiments conducted in universities, hospitals, military bases, and secret underground facilities. MKUltra researchers tested hundreds of methods to influence and control human consciousness. These included LSD and psychedelic drugs, used to break down mental defenses, erase memories, and implant new beliefs. Electromagnetic frequency manipulation experiments using microwaves and ELF waves to alter moods and brain function. Hypnosis and trauma-based mind control used to create split personalities, also known as DD, that could be programmed for secret missions. Sensory deprivation and sleep manipulation subjects were kept in isolation chambers for weeks, making them highly suggestible to reprogramming. Many of these techniques mirrored the brainwave manipulation principles discovered by Robert Monroe. The key difference? While Monroe wanted to expand human consciousness, the CIA sought to control and suppress it. One of the darkest aspects of MKUltra was that it did not just target willing subjects. Thousands of civilians, including soldiers, students, prisoners, and even children, were experimented on without their knowledge or consent. Many victims were permanently damaged, and some even disappeared without a trace. While MKUltra sought to erase and reprogram minds, another CIA program, Project Stargate, was exploring the untapped potential of the human mind for psychic espionage. Stargate was based on the belief that certain individuals could see distant locations, influence people's thoughts, and even predict future events using only their minds. This aligned directly with Monroe's research on remote viewing and out-of-body experiences. The CIA, DIA, and US Army intelligence invested heavily in Stargate, recruiting psychics, shamans, and even monks to train in remote viewing, the ability to see hidden objects, people, or places without being physically present. Telepathic communication, the transmission of thoughts over long distances. Precognition, the ability to see future events before they happen. At its peak, Project Stargate had over 20 trained military remote viewers. Some of these individuals were able to describe Soviet military installations, hidden documents, and even classified government meetings with eerie accuracy. One of the most famous participants was Joseph McMonigal. He claimed to have seen the inside of Russian military bases without ever stepping foot there, future events that later came true, and secret US government facilities conducting advanced research. The similarities between Monroe's training program and the CIA's remote viewing techniques are too close to ignore. The United States was not the only country interested in mind control and psychic espionage. The KGB and Mossad were conducting parallel programs, trying to develop mind-controlled assassins who could kill without hesitation, psychic spies who could infiltrate enemy secrets, and electronic thought control weapons capable of altering moods and beliefs remotely. There were confirmed reports that Soviet scientists were testing electromagnetic fields, radio waves, and chemical agents to manipulate human behavior. The CIA, realizing it was falling behind, ramped up its research, leading to some of the most classified programs in United States history. Looking at these programs together, a pattern emerges. The United States government was trying to erase, alter, and reprogram minds through MKUltra, experimenting with psychic abilities and non-physical perception through Project Stargate, studying brainwave manipulation and out-of-body experiences through the Monroe Institute's Gateway process. This raises an unsettling possibility. Was the real goal of these programs to control human consciousness at a mass scale? While the CIA claimed that both MKUltra and Stargate were shut down, whistleblowers have suggested that these projects continued under new names, evolving into modern-day psychological operations and surveillance programs. In Chapter 2, Part 2, we will examine declassified CIA missions involving psychic espionage and explore whether intelligence agencies successfully harnessed remote viewing to manipulate global events. After decades of classified research into mind control, remote viewing and altered consciousness, the CIA eventually declassified a small portion of its findings from MKUltra, Project Stargate and the Gateway process. These documents revealed a hidden war over the human mind, where intelligence agencies invested millions into psychic espionage, psychological manipulation, and directed consciousness research. Some of the most shocking revelations included remote viewers who accurately described top-secret Soviet military bases without ever being there, psychics who made predictions that later came true, including terrorist attacks and political assassinations, evidence that the government continued its research in secret long after claiming these programs had been shut down. Despite official denials, whistleblowers and declassified documents tell a different story. A story of manipulation, deception, and the weaponization of human consciousness. The United States government's research into remote viewing was not just an experiment, it was an active intelligence gathering tool. Some declassified CIA documents confirm that certain remote viewers were able to locate hidden missile silos and submarines during the Cold War, identify underground bunkers used by foreign leaders, and describe classified technology inside Soviet research facilities. One of the most famous cases involved Joseph McMonigle, a trained remote viewer under Project Stargate. According to declassified reports, McMonigle accurately described a secret Russian military base in 1979, including its layout and operations. He also identified a hidden nuclear submarine that was later confirmed by satellite imagery. Moreover, McMonigle claimed to have seen future events, including natural disasters and military conflicts. His reports were detailed enough that high-ranking intelligence officials began using remote viewing as a supplementary tool for intelligence gathering. This forced the CIA to ask an unsettling question. If human consciousness can access remote locations, can it also be used to influence reality itself? As remote viewing experiments became more successful, intelligence agencies began testing whether consciousness could not only perceive distant locations, but also travel through time. Some of the declassified missions under Project Stargate included seeing into the past to witness historical events, attempting to predict terrorist attacks before they happened, and tracking down missing persons or hidden criminals through psychic vision. One of the most controversial experiments involved remote viewers being tasked with looking into the future. Some claim to have glimpsed major world events before they unfolded, including the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, the 9/11 attacks. Some alleged reports suggest a remote viewer warned of an incoming attack before it happened, political assassinations, and major government conspiracies. While skeptics argue that these predictions were random chance, the CIA's continued investment in these programs suggests they believed the results were far more than coincidence. One of the most famous declassified documents related to the Gateway process is missing a single page, page 25. This page was part of a larger CIA analysis on the Monroe Institute's research into consciousness and reality manipulation. The missing section supposedly contained details about time travel and consciousness existing beyond space-time. It also included confirmation that the mind can influence reality in ways modern science does not yet understand. Furthermore, it revealed government research into interdimensional contact and other non-human intelligences. The fact that this page was deliberately removed from declassified files raises serious questions. Did the CIA discover something too powerful to be made public? Were they concerned that knowledge of consciousness manipulation could threaten global control structures? Is there an ongoing classified version of the Gateway program that the public is not allowed to know about? Some researchers believe that the missing page 25 is being deliberately suppressed because it contains the final piece of the puzzle, the link between human consciousness, time, and the hidden power of the mind. Officially, the US government shut down Project Stargate in the 1990s, claiming that psychic spying was unreliable. However, multiple whistleblowers, including former CIA operatives and military intelligence officers, have stated that these programs were never truly ended. Some evidence suggests that the private sector took over much of the research, allowing the government to deny involvement. Defense contractors and intelligence agencies continue classified psychic training programs. The transition from MKUltra to Project Stargate to modern-day psychological operations suggests that the ultimate goal has always been controlling human consciousness on a large scale. After decades of research, the US intelligence community likely discovered far more than they were willing to admit. The evidence from declassified reports, whistleblower testimony, and military experiments suggests that the mind is far more powerful than we are led to believe. Remote viewing and consciousness expansion techniques work, and intelligence agencies know it. The true nature of reality, particularly regarding time, space, and perception, may be far more complex than mainstream science acknowledges. If the missing pieces of these classified programs were made public, it could rewrite our understanding of the mind, the universe, and even the future of human evolution. In Chapter 2, Part 3, we will examine how the CIA's research compared to the mind control experiments of the KGB and Mossad, revealing how these global intelligence agencies competed in a secret war for control over the most powerful weapon of all, human consciousness. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more of the Gateway conspiracy. While the CIA's MKUltra and Project Stargate are among the most well-known intelligence programs dedicated to mind control and psychic warfare, the United States was not the only country exploring these capabilities. During the Cold War, the KGB in the Soviet Union and Mossad in Israel ran their own secret research programs, competing in a covert arms race for control over human consciousness. This chapter examines how the KGB developed its own mind control experiments, how Mossad used psychological warfare and deception techniques, and how intelligence agencies may have already used mass-scale consciousness manipulation in modern society. While these agencies officially deny any ongoing experiments, declassified documents and whistleblower testimony suggest otherwise. The battle for control over the mind is not just history, it is happening right now. During the Cold War, the KGB invested heavily in ESP, mind control and psychic manipulation, believing it could be used as a weapon against the West. Much of this research was inspired by Nazi occult science, which had already been incorporated into Soviet intelligence after World War II, Tibetan and Eastern mysticism, which Soviet spies studied for its ability to induce altered states, and biological and electromagnetic weaponry, which was believed to influence thoughts and behavior remotely. The KGB's secret consciousness experiments focused on creating telepathic soldiers who could transmit messages without radio signals, using hypnosis and drug-induced programming to create sleeper agents, and experimenting with electromagnetic fields to influence thoughts, moods, and behaviors. One of the KGB's most famous psychic operatives, Ninel Kulagina, demonstrated an ability to move objects with her mind, influence the biological functions of others, including raising or lowering heart rates, and receive visions of distant locations. While some dismissed these experiments as hoaxes, Soviet officials took them seriously enough to pour millions into further research. Why? Because if consciousness could be controlled, so could entire populations. Israel's intelligence agency, Mossad, has a reputation for being one of the most secretive and effective spy organizations in the world. While they did not focus as much on psychic research, they developed some of the most advanced psychological warfare techniques ever used in modern intelligence. Mossad's programs included deep-cover brainwashing operations, where agents were programmed with false identities and memories, use of sexual blackmail, honey traps, to psychologically manipulate high-ranking officials and businessmen, and covert psychological conditioning to create assassins and spies who did not even know they were working for Mossad. There are numerous reports that Mossad experimented with synthetic telepathy, or devices that could implant thoughts into a subject's mind, psychological disorientation tactics, designed to break down targets mentally and make them more susceptible to influence, and extreme sleep deprivation and trauma-based programming, techniques similar to MKUltra. One of the most controversial theories is that Mossad collaborated with the CIA in developing early brain-computer interface technology, which was later used for surveillance, interrogation, and even controlling thoughts remotely. This research may have influenced modern social engineering strategies, such as psychological conditioning through media and entertainment, behavioral tracking through big tech and AI-driven propaganda, and mass-scale disinformation campaigns designed to influence entire populations. While Mossad's role in psychic research is less documented than the KGB or CIA, its expertise in psychological manipulation and intelligence gathering suggests that it was deeply involved in the global battle for control over human consciousness. The CIA, KGB, and Mossad all claim that their psychic and mind control research ended in the late 20th century. However, multiple sources suggest that the research was simply transferred to private institutions and defense contractors. Technological advancements in artificial intelligence, brain-computer interfaces, and neural implants may be the next evolution of mind control, and mass psychological manipulation has replaced individual experimentation, making the entire population the new test subjects. Former intelligence operatives and whistleblowers have warned that neural implants and smart technology could be used to remotely influence thought patterns. 5G and other electromagnetic fields could potentially be weaponized for mood and behavior modification. And the end goal is not just controlling individual minds, but directing the collective consciousness of entire societies. The real war between the CIA, KGB, and Mossad may not have been about territory or weapons. It may have been about who could control the minds of the masses first. The shift from MKUltra and Stargate to modern psychological operations suggests that traditional brainwashing and hypnosis have been replaced by advanced behavioral engineering. Surveillance technology, social media, and AI algorithms are being used to shape public perception on a massive scale. The elite no longer need to program individuals one by one. They can influence billions at once. The question remains, Is free will still possible in a world where intelligence agencies have spent decades perfecting the science of mind control? In the next episode, Chapter 3, Part 1, we will begin exploring one of the most controversial claims in all of consciousness research, the missing page, 25 of the Gateway Process Report, and whether the US government uncovered proof that reality itself is an illusion. Be sure to tune in next week. Thank you for watching. Come back next week when we'll have more of what they don't want you to see. Brought to you by Publishing Zombie.
Publishing Zombie, indie publishing for rebellious readers.